So, hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this very special session that we are doing today in collaboration with Om Books International and the Book Bakers. And with Father's Day around the corner, we're very happy to let you know that we have some amazing fathers here. Now, some of you would know, and for those of you who don't, let me let you know that I am a best-selling author and a strategic consultant. My name is Rrashima, and my third book, it's a non-fiction book on parenting, has just been released, which is why everything is syncing up very beautifully here. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. So the book is called Sleep Support and Sanity, and I have two gentlemen here, two very dashing gentlemen who played a very pivotal role in the journey of this book. And along with that, they're also amazing fathers. So yeah, I'm going to just quickly introduce our panelists. We have Mr. Shantanu Ray Chaudhuri. He is the editor-in-chief at Om Books International. We have Mr. Suhail Mathur, who is a best-selling author and co-founder with one of India's biggest literary agencies, the Book Bakers. And we also have Panchali ma'am, who is Shantanu Da's better half and plays a very pivotal role in the subject that we're going to be talking about. And in the background, I can see my lovely editor, Jyotsna. Okay, are you frozen too, Jyotsna? Or is half the screen working?
Both are frozen, unfortunately for us.
My first question goes out to Suhail now. And Suhail, as children, we know, I know that you are very close to your dad. I am also very close to my father. And I think the reason was the very close relationship that we shared with them as children, Now, do you think that the 80s and 90s fathers were not as involved and maybe our fathers were exceptions to the general rule? How do you think that scenario has changed as far as modern day parenting is concerned, or the modern day father?
Sure. I mean, my father was a 90s father, so I think he was pretty involved in that sense of the term.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, it was great. I was part of a nuclear family, or a nuclear family, as I always call it. Yeah. And I thought that, the bond between my parents and me was very strong. So they were more like my friends, more than anything else. So the discussions that I used to have with them, or I was pretty free to talk about anything with them. And, they also treated me like an equal. Of course, the respect was there, not to mistake that. The respect was there. And but at the same time, I think, a lot of things used to be spoken about, and that actually helped also in probably getting knowledge. I remember, my introduction to the Ramayana was basically, Amar Katha had brought out this 88-page Ramayana book, and my dad used to read it out to me. So that's how I initially read about Ramayana before I saw the rerun of the Sagar's show. Okay. So I think, things have been great, and we've, even as far as literary matters are concerned, I think we've formed a great team. So a lot of times, or till, pretty much my school life, after school, when I joined college, I was able to do this on my own. But for pretty much my school life, he used to write the debates for me. Okay. And I used to, of course, then learn it and speak it out. And I used to, so in fact, if you remember, Miss Indu Yadav, who had invited you also to her school, Lotus Valley. Yeah. She was my English teacher, and she was well versed with, how engaged I was with debates and all. I remember I'd gone to Army Public School, and I came back after a win, and the first thing she asked me was, that was the speech written by your dad? So I said, yeah, it was. So everyone knew that we had that collaboration, and I think that collaboration can only happen when you have comfort, because that gives you room to discuss, debate, and also figure out what is the best possible way of working. So I think we are still friends. I mean, we share jokes with one another, we share information with one another, and we can discuss anything and everything, right from sports to politics to literature, everything. So yeah. I think that is something which I was very fortunate to have had, broad-minded parents. Yeah. And as far as I think today's parent is concerned, the modern day parent, I think what has happened in the recent past is that there has been a lot of awareness, as far as what kind of parenting should actually happen, or what is good parenting, or, equal roles. I mean, nowadays you can't even say that, my wife is pregnant. You have to say we are pregnant. So I mean, it's reached that level, so to say. Yeah. But I think what this has also done is that while it has shown people what all they need to do for the kids, it may have taken away the hands-on approach that these parents have. So which is to say that, the moment the summer vacation will start, the parent will know, I have to send my child to this summer camp, and then to this class, and to that class, and then a music class and a karate class, whatever the case is. So from that point of view, the parent is thinking a lot, and they're doing things for their children, but they're not doing it themselves. So the personal interaction angle tends to reduce, is what I've noticed. Because there are a lot of peers also who are engaging in it, and I feel that the personal touch is reducing a little. But I think it varies from case to case. I think Shantanu will have a.
Even right now, we can see his name right there, so I think we can totally feel his presence. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So when you can actually share a laptop or an electronic device with your father, I know you definitely have a very close relationship going there. Moving on to Shantanu Da. Shantanu Da, so there's something that I get asked all the time as a working mom, and I've spent many years in the corporate sector and now I've been writing for a long time. I keep getting asked this question: how do you balance it all? Your motherhood and your parenting, and along with that, your corporate career and your work. How do you balance? You have been a very, very busy person all your life. I mean, as a film editor, as a film critic, and then of course as a major book editor, as a leading book editor. I mean, it's not easy. Do you ever get asked this question? Because I know men have a very different experience here.
I don't get asked this question because I think people don't expect. Still, people don't expect. At least at the time Shashwat was growing up, there was not much expectation of fathers being too involved. So I never got asked that question. But that's a question I kept asking myself. Now, while I was growing up, I knew for a matter of fact that my dad was uh, uh, largely away. He had a number of tours. He had a touring sort of a job. He used to be away, and he was the president of this federation. So he had those meetings. Even when, for example, used to be down with high fever, he used to be at meetings more than at home, and it was accept. Like we didn't even question, because that was work that had to be done. At the same time, I remember one of my brothers and my most favorite memories are in Shillong. At the time we were 12, 13, 14, and at night in the cold, uh, dad reading out Feluda stories. Because we were not very conversant with the Bengali language, and he used to read out the Feluda stories and the Professor Shankusho stories. And so, that had even now when my brother and I discuss it, aisa bhi hota tha. So, that was there, but for the large part of our growing up years, that was more or less absent. It was mother who sort of got us. With Shashwat, I do ask the question, and I have been asking the question, and I have beaten myself about it. ऐसा कि मैं शायद Shashwat का growing up years में मैं present था ही नहीं, like in the sense of I wasn't part. But as Panchali will tell you, only last Saturday or Sunday, my brother was here, and we were just looking up videos of Shashwat at the time when he was 3, 4, 5, 6, and a lot of videos. And I saw myself either recording those videos or being part of it. And every video had a song that was playing in the background, and it used to be part of Shashwat and me's growing up thing was he loved songs. So we used to play every time I was in the room with him. We used to play some song, the boom. He used to be fond of Bhumi. He used to be fond of this a few Sufi songs that used to play at that point of time. And I still remember, holding him in my on my shoulders when he's going to sleep at times, though Panchali managed that. But there were times when I used to do that, and एक गाना था जीवन से ना हार जीने वाले ही और आ चल के तुझे, used to be very fond of those. And I used to think that maybe वो सो गया है, and at the end, when the song ended, he used to again tap me, like फिर से एक बार चलना है ये गाना, that kind of thing. So I think I punished myself a lot, saying that I haven't been part of this growing up, but I do think I have been, maybe not as much. Panchali has managed everything around him, but I have been part of, I've taken him to every exam that he's been at. I have, all Marvel films, and when particularly after the pandemic, during and out, so we got together around that time. He introduced me to Harry Potter. He introduced me to the Marvel universe. And now every Marvel film for the last 10, 12 films that we have watched the first shows he's missed. His school, he has kal exam hai aur aaj Marvel release ho raha hai. So we have watched Marvel. And in those cases, Panchali has been absent because for some reason he doesn't want Panchali to be part of that Marvel thing. So you'll see whatever photos we post, it is me and him posting from the hall. So that's been there. Then he's introduced me to this whole football thing. He's in the football freak. It's only after him that I got introduced to English Premier League and all this league. रात के 1-1:30 बजे बैठे देख रहे हैं. At times when I fall asleep, of course Panchali accompanies him in watching all of that. So I think it's a different. With my parents, I remember getting slapped, and must be really scared at that point of time. I used to be जरा ढीठ सा हुआ करता था. So dad used to slap, like पड़ेगा तो पड़ेगा. It's we can't imagine that. I don't remember Panchali तो फिर भी उससे जोर गले में बोल देती है. I don't think I have even raised my voice. So And yes, I have not been able to read to him because this generation doesn't read. But he introduced me to Instagram. He introduced me to WhatsApp, and we have that kind of a thing going.
Relationship going, yeah. You know, I felt so good right now. I mean, good in a very different way when you said that this generation doesn't read, because I used to think it's only me. You know, imagine a writer's son and I have to struggle to get him to read. But here's one of the top editors in the country saying the same. So I would like to move on to Panchali ma'am, because, you know, it's like so seamless, this discussion here. Panchali ma'am, I have a son too, you know, and I know that even though there is this notion that mothers and sons are very close, I know I feel left out sometimes, particularly when my husband and my son are doing things together where I know I'm not welcome, not invited. And Shantanu just spoke about that. What do you feel? Do you feel that sometimes you feel left out, you feel like an outsider in this very close equation that father and son share?
Yeah, I do sometimes feel that I'm being left out, because in some cases he mostly loves to go for these movies and wherever to go out, especially. He doesn't want me to go with him.
Yeah.
For some reasons, he thinks that he and Shantanu will go together, and he finds somewhat the other excuse that I'm left out. It is Shantanu who keeps
Mom must be very tired. My mom might be tired. Let her rest. You know, he knows I'll give him the kind of food that Panchali will not probably allow.
Yeah. We'll give him whatever he wants, and I'll restrict, like, ye nahi khana hai, wo nahi khana hai. But with Shantanu, it's like jo bhi khana hai, kha lo. So in such cases, he prefers to go with Shantanu rather than with me. So this is there, and watching plays or whatever at home, football and all. Like, even if we none of us watches, he sees the score in the morning, and if I ask him in the morning what is the score, he won't share with me. Even if Shantanu is out of station, he'll call Shantanu first and then say the score.
Wow.
And I keep saying, batao, but no. Papa ko pehle bata. And whatever, he loves to share things with Shantanu more than with me.
Yeah.
And Shantanu, I think it's more closer to him in this respects, and he won't say no to him. So this is one reason. Like, I keep saying ki ye nahi karna hai, wo nahi karna hai, even if we go out, but Shantanu is always the nahi, jo bhi karna hai, karna. So in such cases, he loves to go with Shantanu more than with me, and he prefers to keep me home so that he can enjoy on his own with Shantanu.
You have really echoed my thoughts, you know. And in my case, it's even worse because I am the fun parent. At least I try to be. So while my husband is stricter in terms of what our son will eat, what he's going to watch, and I'm trying to be a slightly cooler parent here. Even then, my son is just my dad, and he wants to spend time with him, and that relationship is so sacrosanct that nobody's allowed to get in there. So yeah, I think mothers are always left to do the boring stuff. This is what I feel. And that actually brings me to the next question for Suhail. So considering that there's been a lot of change in how we perceive gender roles and what role the father will play and what role the mom will play. Suhail, what do you feel are the main challenges that the modern day father has to face that maybe the fathers of the 80s and the 90s didn't have to deal with?
I think it's not as far as challenges are concerned, but what you bring to the table. So what I try to per se do is that I don't behave like a parent per se. When I say not behave like a parent, I'm more like her father. I mean, she's like my buddy. So then both of us are chilling and we are playing. So Sumedha sometimes says that it's very difficult to figure out who's younger, of the two. But I think that's the way to go about it. But yeah, I think that's the element that you need to bring about. You need to pamper the child. You need to have fun with the child. What is right? Because these are the formative years, these are the founding years. So it's very important that you instill those values. It's a very fine line between pampering and spoiling. So I think that has to be maintained. So if you're able to do that without coming across as too strict, then I think you've done the job. I think one of the most enjoyable things she finds is that every afternoon when she's going to sleep, I have to tell her a story. So I narrate a story where she's one of the characters.
Yeah.
So she's one of the characters, and then I figure out. So earlier she had a fascination for hearing horror stories, and she said, "I want to hear horror only." And much to Sumedha's chagrin, that no, she's too young. Yeah. She can't hear those. But Samaira was adamant till such time that after a couple of months she said that I'm feeling scared. So then we changed it. So now what I do is that we have 3-4 characters. So the latest trend is that we take Shikari Shambhu, who's a very popular character from Tinkle.
Okay, so Samaira, I have a question for you. Are you listening? Okay. And I know that both your mom and dad are here right now, so it's difficult to choose. But sometimes we have to make difficult choices. So tell me, out of your mom and dad, who's the more fun parent? Who do you have more fun with?
Father, mother, both.
That's a very diplomatic answer. Very diplomatic. Okay. Who lets you stay up late at night more? Like if you want to not sleep.
My father.
Okay,
That's
so
true.
okay, so that's 1, 2 for Suhail and 1 for Sumedha. I'm doing a little countdown here. Okay. Who is more patient when you make a mistake? Who do you go to? Mom's the
My mother.
word. Your mother.
She's
Okay.
got them on now.
Okay. Who makes you laugh more? Who tells you more jokes?
My father.
Sumedha, you might want to disappear at this point. In your place, I would.
No, I think she's being honest. I think all her responses till now have been really honest, so that's fine.
Yes,
As long as
yes,
as long as
sure.
the
Yeah,
answer
till
is
the time,
correct, we
till
don't
the
mind.
time she doesn't, Suhail is not outnumbered, and
No, that's
then
okay.
he's going to tell her,
No.
you chose.
Yeah,
No,
but,
no, no,
but
not at all,
Samaira,
not at all.
always remember, whenever you want nail paints and lipsticks, you know where to look, right? So you need to turn around and show a little love over there also, because Sohail, trust me, at one point you will be the outsider. I'm telling you this from experience, because I was always the cooler parent, the more fun parent, and today it's the tables have turned. So I think it's all that thing that we hear about gender loyalty, which takes on. But okay, so we're going to come back to Samaira again. Some more fun questions coming up there. In the meantime, I really want to ask Panchali ma'am a question. So Panchali ma'am, we were talking about feeling left out and the fact that, that whole father-son equation, and as mothers, do you feel we've always had it tougher, like the mother has had to do all the tougher tasks and the father gets to take more of the credit? Have you ever felt that way?
Since he's looking at me, so it's really difficult to answer this question. Yeah, I just feel that we try to give them more space, and that's generally takes more credit to it. Yes, he's looking at me, but still I'll say it.
That's right. I am the first to admit that a lot of the day-to-day stuff that needs to be administered.
Today, activities after their studies and running off to school, dropping them to school, and all these things. Mothers are more into all this.
Yeah.
And it's a little difficult for dads also, I acknowledge this. But still, I believe that we mothers, especially who are homemakers, they get more time to do all these activities.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't know what to say about it.
Trust me, I don't think Shantanu is looking only at you. It just feels that way when you're in this grid view. And
No, I think what ma'am said, what ma'am
will be accepts this. It's not that he doesn't accept. He accepts that I am more into all this because they don't have much time for all the things. But he is more into his about his admissions in colleges and all. He's more involved in this. I see many dads during our time, especially when parents were more not into all these things, especially dads. But Shantanu is in all these things, like where to get his admissions and all this. Shantanu is more involved in all this.
Yeah, and it was very heartwarming, and it touched my heart actually when he spoke about this whole thing, because in the book also we've spoken about guilt pangs and how parents go through it, and there's this whole idea of mom guilt. But I remember talking to you about this earlier as well, Shantanu, when we spoke about the whole concept of dad guilt, that even fathers go through the same emotions.
I think I agree with ma'am, that so every day Sumedha is the one who takes Samaira to school and gets her back. So Samaira used to always say, Dada, abhi aao na, come this, that. So one day I went. When I went that day, so she was like really happy, and of course Samaira was there. So she said Samaira's, yes, Kavita Balla ma'am. So she said that Samaira is a total pataka, and that's how actually she got her first performance also. So I told her ma'am that please consider her for some extracurricular activities or co-curricular activities, and she said we'll definitely look into it. And the next thing we got to know was that 2 days later, so we got to know that she had to play the role of a superhero, and it was happening in another school, and it was a solo performance. So it was definitely a big risk, but she played a very different superhero. She played Kalki, and she even won the prize over there. She went to the school and won a prize, and it was quite heartening. So I keep on telling her that it's never about how many visits I make to the school. It's about the impact I have with a single.
Samaira, what is your one favorite thing to do with your mom, and what is the thing you enjoy doing with your dad? Your favorite thing?
And stories with my dad.
You like to read stories with your dad, and what about your mom?
Art and craft.
Art and craft. Okay. And who do you like to sing songs with?
Both.
So I'm going to ask you.
She likes to sing songs with the Dadi and she are, interesting pair. They keep on singing all Helen songs, and both of them are, up to it.
Well, now the point is, since we've got Ajay here, I have to put a question to him, and I had it ready right here. And this is about your daughter. Ajay, I know that she is a very she's a very talented young girl, and she is creatively inclined, towards pursuits that are different. I mean, whether it's writing or whatever. But we know that it's not easy. These are not easy fields to be in. Of course, you are, heading a top publishing house. Now, as a father, would you encourage her to move where her passion is taking her, where her heart is taking her?
100%. Like, she just finished her exams. In fact, I'll tell you something. She was in another school in Delhi, Gurgaon rather, for the high school. She was moved from Woodstock. And then there were a lot of issues in the school, and we finally imagined in the grade 12 had to move over to UK, because there were a lot of bullying happening, there were a lot of torturing happening in the school, which they didn't take care of at all. So the moment we moved her out to another school, another environment, the whole personality got changed. She was always an A-star student till the grade 10. And 11, she came dipped totally, and school never bothered about it. The moment we moved to another school, she got back again to the same A-star. And now she's focusing on, she got admission in SVA School of Visual Arts, New York. She's going for a film direction course, a degree course. She's so motivated. She's doing a lot of short films now. We were in Europe. She made a lot of short films over there. I have friends in the same industry where I'm passing on those films, and they're loving it. So the journey is actually, I've seen a lot of ups and downs for her in the last 2.5, 3 years rather.
Yeah.
But support of the parents, especially the father, is so important in this kind of scenario. For I'm sure every child faces some kind of issue in the entire life.
Yeah.
Early the better as a parent, I would say, because a lot of times you face issues post your whatever 30 or 40 or whatever. So we are blessed to have that. This issues came much before that she was in front of us, and we could handle it properly. So I would say that the parents are the biggest support. The moment I asked, in fact, I read her questionnaire to the college where they says who's your superhero or model hero. She put my name. She never told me this all her life, by chance, because the email ID also I have on my phone, and I read it. I felt, oh my God! I was so emotional that day. I said, yes, these daughters are definitely different, and sometimes they don't really put words in front, but they really feel for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And your words are really resonating with me also.
On a lighter note, Jana loves to spend so much time with Ajay that when Ajay's wife comes and calls her, she refuses by saying, "Ma, go."
That's a good one.
That's a very good one. Yeah, I think Suhail's fans can actually fill a book. I keep telling him that. No, but your words really resonated with me because I don't know, some of you know that my son is big into football and he is very talented. And now at this point in time, this is the decision that we are faced with. Should we let him go on that path where his heart is leading him, because it's what he wants to do, it's what makes him happy. He should have joined this session.
Jana is a national football player also throughout her life.
Wow.
She played nationally 3 times. Yeah, she won. But then in grade 11, she left for various reasons, and obviously studies also.
Yeah.
But then she's gonna pursue in the college.
Yeah.
She's already put her name in the college team also in the US.
Fabulous,
so,
fabulous.
As a girl, child also I supported. So support is something which we need to really, really support the child in sports. Which is
yeah. It's not easy, but I think things are changing. So there's a lot of heartening progress that's happening in that area. But tell me, Ajay, I have one more question for you, and then of course I want to know from everyone. But you've been a very busy man all your life, and you've been traveling, spent a lot of time away from home also, I'm sure, because of work. Did you ever feel that you were missing out on those precious years when she was little, because when children are growing up, it's a very different phase. So did you ever feel that, I wish I could be home to see all this happening?
It's a very good question which I ask every day to myself. While my earlier, I would say, youth, I would say, when I was in 30s or something, I never realized that, I was not even realizing that I'm missing my family, because I was building up a lot of things. But today, when I go back, I really regret that I've not given my time to my family, to my kids, to my wife. This is the time, and I tell all my friends who are much younger than me with little kids that work is important, but family is more important than work. So you have to really support and give time to your family. It's very, very important. I regret all my life. I actually regret why not spend time. I only give time once a month, once a year, take them out for 2 weeks, and that's it. But now, when I want them now, they moved on. They don't like our company. They don't want to go for food with us. They don't want to travel with us anymore. because they're grown up now, right? One is 18 and the other one is 23, 24.
Yeah, but it'll come back, trust me. It'll come back because, my father used to travel 200 days out of 365 days in a year when I was little. And which is why maybe my mom and I were very close. But I always wanted his company. It's not, and of course, as teenagers and when we're in our early 20s, it's a little different. But when you get a bit older, it all comes back. So that bond.
But I thought they're going out, so I don't know what kind of bond is going to happen. Post comes back.
Yeah, question for all of you actually, all the the mums and the dads here. Like I said, I was just talking about fathers being role models for their children, whether you have a son or a daughter. I think a father truly leads by example. I'd like to get your thoughts, all of you, one by one. Maybe we can start with Shantanu, move on to Suhail, and then
You see, I have an issue with role models. The moment you have role models, they tend to develop feet of clay. So I think even the Buddha said, no role models. He didn't want himself to be a role model. There is this famous saying, kill your parents. It's necessary to, when you say kill your parents, I don't mean parricide, of course, but you have to actually develop your, of course, we as we can only tell them, or the way we lead our lives will somehow impact them. But I wouldn't like Shashwat to follow what I did only because I did so. I would like him to find his own path. So for example, I keep telling him, if necessary, take a year off all education, all academic, all professional pursuits. You don't have to follow the herd. You've got time on your hand. Ek saal agar you take your time to find out what you want to do. Just because I did something at 18 or I did something at 21 and I entered into the workforce at 22, 23, you don't need to. You can take your time out. You don't have to follow me. And as far as role models are concerned, I think he's as much a role model for me. He's the guy who introduced Beatles to me. Beatles is my generation and back, but he the way he took to it, and then the way he introduced Beatles, or the way he comes to me, Asha, I have listened to this song. Do you know this music bit here? It's so beautiful. I think he's teaching me a lot of things there, that I wouldn't be aware of. Otherwise. So I think he's as much a role model for me, and I would prefer not being a role model for him in any way. Like let him find his own models on the way, like including all kinds of models.
What do you feel, Suhail?
See, I think you just have to be yourself. And you don't have to put up an act that, oh, I have to be a role model, so I have to do this. The idea is to be yourself, and you also can't fib for that long. I mean, you have to realize that that person is staying with you. So you can't put up an act. You can put up an act for a day, a week, a month maybe, but you can't do it for all your life. So I think the idea is to be your real self, guide the child. In fact, Shantanu mentioned a very important point. He mentioned the Buddha. What I'd say is that if you look at history, you will find that a lot of great personalities were not necessarily great fathers, Buddha included. He left his son when he was just a year old or so. Or if you see Mahatma Gandhi also had some issues with his eldest son. So what? That's also predominantly because these people are so great in their life that they're devoting a larger time to their work or to the greater cause. So sometimes those family relationships also tend to suffer. So I think you just have to be true to yourself, and if you are true to yourself, be a friend to the child rather than a role model, because they'll look up to you organically in any case. Like Ajay mentioned that he's never had the conversation with her daughter about a role model or a hero, but she organically wrote that. So I think if you are true to yourself and if you create that environment in your house, I'm sure the child will realize it in the longer run.
Yeah. And I think in Ajay's case, his son is now sort of also working with him, so he is moving into those footsteps. Isn't that true, Ajay? So somewhere I think you have had an impact on what he wants to do, how he wants to, what decisions that he's making or choices that he's taking. What about the mums? What do they feel about role models? We can start with Sumedha and then move on to Panchali, ma'am.
Yeah, so Rrashima, I feel this has got more than, it's beyond a role model. So I feel, if the child always imitates what he observes, he or she observes.
Yeah.
So it's very important, that how, since we're talking about fathers here, how the father is, speaking to the mother, how his conduct, I think that's very important, how, because tomorrow she's going to go out and she's also going to, then accordingly she's going to approach those people if, she feels that this is how, I've been spoken to, or we're not going out right now, I'm just giving an example. So if you know that, so she's going to get attracted to such people who, how she's observed behaviors at home. So it's very important how, the entire conduct of the father is towards the mother, towards elders, towards her. Because those are the values which she's going to imbibe, and that's what, when she goes out, she's going to get attracted to such people or such personalities. And later on, it's also going to be, that how she's going to one second. How she's going to behave is also, these are all things which are going to help her. So
Yeah.
I feel it's more of a psychological, all this is important from a psychological perspective.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Invariably, she's going to get attracted to such behaviors or such people. So I think that's why we should be the father, since we're talking about the father here. Not only the father, the mother as well. We should be very, very, careful.
Absolutely.
The kind of, values we are, whether it's whether we are
That's
allowing
true.
her to be
Just
dominated, or it's very important, because if she feels that, okay, that it's okay to be dominated, or it's okay, in my family, the mother has an equal say, or she can speak on different topics. So that's what she's going to imbibe. And then it's, she's also going to, later on, she's going to have a strong point. And if she feels that, she's dominated, she'll be like, okay, no, this is not the way, because she's been brought up like that. So
Yeah.
I feel that's what I feel.
Whether you have a son or a daughter, I think children
and
pick up
important for both.
for both. Yeah,
For
because
the
children pick
mother,
up on very subtle
and
things.
it's also important how the mother speaks to other family members, how she treats them, whether she's respectful, she's not respectful, she shouts and talks. So I think these are minute behaviors which we need to be very careful of.
Yeah.
And role model, that's something possibly later or something, but this is something which I feel we as parents really need to,
set an example.
Consciously work upon. And then, because we may not, we feel that, okay, this is not going to have an impact, but psychologically this will definitely have an impact on her later. Yeah.
Right. Thanks a lot. In fact, I totally agree with Sumedha. So I think it's the female psyche
like
which is a little. But she's totally on point on this. What are your thoughts, Panchali ma'am? What do you feel about role models setting an example?
Recently, I would like to share one thing, that Shashwat just got his blue file. That is, after his schooling, he got a file where right from his nursery, they had all his works, his fingerprints, and everything right from nursery. So in one of those files, we got to see that they might have asked him, what is your aim in life and who is your role model? And he wrote that my role model is my father. I want to be a driver. So that is something which was really very funny on his part, that in such an age of 3, his role model is father and he wants to be a driver. So that is there, but from his childhood, I believe that every child.
So what he says now? Is he still a role model?
I don't know, but somehow unconsciously they do follow their child, their father.
Yeah,
because I have seen that Shantanu's love for music and language, Shashwat, though may not be consciously, but he follows it. He's right from his age, small, when he was 3 years or less than that, 2 years, 2.5 years. He has a love for music and language. I think he got it from Shantanu, and it might not be consciously, because at that point of time, a person that doesn't have such consciousness to follow.
Yeah.
But it does, and they follow what their father tries to, how they behave with others, just like she has said right now.
Yeah.
It is there. When a child follows his parents, right from day one, I believe, that how his father behaves with others, how his behaves with mother, how he respects him, how he talks to him, they gradually grasp that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe that it's there in every child. Unconsciously, they see the surrounding and they try to follow their parents. And when they move out, they move into the world, they try to accept that personality which they see at home. So this is there. That is how I believe that though may not be consciously, unconsciously, they take a path shown by their parents. Especially father has a great role to play on it.
Absolutely.
This is how I feel.
I agree with you. I think along with raising our children, we're also getting raised by them, because for us.
Fact, one of the things Gulzar Saab said, I may be 50 years old as a person, but I'm only X number of years old as a father, because you are only as old as your child.
As your children, absolutely.
So I'm just 17 years old. I haven't seen more than 17. And I've made mistakes in that. I know for a fact that at one point of time, pressures of work, my own, I used to lose my temper very much, and I know how it affected. Today I regret a few of those outbursts. Panchali hasn't spoken about it, but I am very, very open about it. That yes, I used to lose my temper. I used to have those outbursts, and at times in front of him, which impacted later we came to know how it has impacted him, how it created a psychosis of fear in him for a bit. And after that, I've made a conscious effort to take it away, and I've involved him with music and stuff and all to try and make him overcome that. I think he has overcome. He loves being with me. I think, but then thoda bahut to usme raha hai. That's why I said role model. No, I don't want to be, because I know I am way less than perfect to be a role model.
Yeah, I think, it's more to do with leading by example. And of course, our children are aware. And as Suhail said, that we live with them all the time. So they're going to be privy to our good and our bad and our ups and our downs. And of course, I think what Ajay said it resonated so much with me that, because when he spoke about traveling and I remembered how my father used to travel, I used to think back and say, okay, he's doing this for me, right? He's doing it for his family. So, and that I think really, really struck a chord with me. Thank you, Suhail. That's a very sweet thing, holding up the book. I think I'll just do that as well. I'm always happy to hold it up like this. Very, very proud of this one because I think it really poured my heart out. But I have a quiz here now. It's going to be a fun quiz, and it's for everyone. So we don't have a buzzer, but you can just put your hand up and answer. Hollywood, Bollywood, it's all mixed up. Yeah. So the first question is a Hollywood question. Father and son, Tom and Colin Hanks, have appeared in only one film together, and it was As a Father and a Son. Which film did they star in? The Green Mile is one. Road to Perdition is one. And The Great Buck Howard is the third.
I think it's Road to Perdition.
No, it is
Great Buck Howard.
Yes, that is right. So that's the film in which Tom and Colin Hanks star together. Okay, now we have a Bollywood question. This is really easy, yeah? What was the name of Amitabh Bachchan's character as a father in K3G?
Yash Raichand.
Yashvardhan Raichand. Very good. Very good. So that's for you. Okay, next question. In Dil Dhadakne Do, Anil Kapoor tries to bribe his son into marrying a girl of his choice. What object does he try to bribe him with?
Aeroplane.
What?
Yeah. You haven't seen it. It's a hilarious scene. You have to see it. We have a Hollywood question now. In the classic film Sound of Music, Christopher Plummer's 16-year-old daughter requests him to allow her to taste a particular beverage for the first time. What is the beverage?
Yeah, I don't know.
Come on, it's a part of that very beautiful song, yeah. So Long Farewell.
Beer.
Not beer. Girls don't ask for beer, Suhail. It just shows how much you know the female psyche. Come on.
Wine or champagne?
Champagne, that's it. Ajay knows, yeah. Ajay has a young daughter, so he knows. Okay. Now I have a Bollywood question. So 2 more questions left. A child artist who played the role of SRK's daughter in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, then went on to debut as an adult in a supporting role in the film Student of the Year 1. What is the actress's name?
Sana.
Yes. So that was a wonderful quiz. It was a lot of fun. And, our participants got quite a few of the questions correct. So I would like to thank all of them for being a part of this very heartwarming session. A huge thank you to Ajay Mago, publisher at Om Books International, Suhail Mathur, leading literary agent at the Bookmakers, Shantanu Ray Chaudhuri, editor-in-chief at Om Books, and of course, little Samaira and Sumedha and Panchali ma'am. Thank you so much for joining. And I'd also like to express my gratitude to the team at Om Books, that has worked behind the scenes to create this fantastic session, Kusum and Arushi, and of course, my editor, Jyotsna Mehta. Thank you very much to my viewers, to all of you, for joining the session. I think what has really come out is something I've always believed in, and something that has been spoken about in this book in detail, that fathers play an equally important role in bringing up the children. It is a pity that something that comes as naturally to them as it does to mothers, should have been restricted by gender differentiation for so long. And it is heartwarming to see that that is changing. Fathers feel the same emotions. They yearn to be with their kids. They want to spend time with them. So it's wonderful to see them stepping forward and embracing this life-changing role with so much gusto. A very happy Father's Day to all of you. Have a wonderful time. And thank you once again for joining us. Take care. Bye-bye.